I'm going to see if I can flip around the camera so that you can see what's happening with the presentation. If you don't know me, I'm Kirsten. I'm the Vice President of the CNA this year. It's real loud in here because we've got a bunch of people. We're at Frida's Garden over on 16th Street and Windsor, and it's a really awesome, cute community space. So we'll have the hosts introduce themselves when she gets here. So hold tight. We're still getting set up. But thank you everyone for watching. You will, yes. Yeah. So, yeah. I'll try to aim it this way. There we go. Yep, you're good. Thank you.
I bought it at Costco, but I bought it before at Fry's.
So you can see this awesome space. Yeah. They've got like a wet bar area to set up catering.
If you have it, grab your snacks, and there's some drinks as well. We're going to give it one more minute, and then we're going to get started. We've got a full agenda, so.
Perfect.
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah. I think that one's open. Alright, let's get this party started. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Gutierrez, President of the Coronado Neighborhood Association. Thank you for being here today. I appreciate your time. We've got a full agenda, so I'm going to try and keep it quick on the front half, and then we've got some guests from the City of Phoenix and from the Merchants Association here, so a couple people to speak about a few different things. So to jump right into it, Dan, if you want to, there's another chair over here for short.
Sitting right there.
Okay.
Thank you.
We don't have anyone here from Frida's Garden, but I will say we are here at Frida's Garden. This is a really cool space.
I think she'll be here, just, I don't know, maybe not. All right, anyway, continue.
When she doesn't
Yeah.
show up,
Yeah.
I'll just say that, this is shared space. They do some art classes here and stuff. More.
I think you can rent it out for your own event spaces or event usage. But that's, yeah, kind of all I know. Their website has a lot more information on what they do. But we're super grateful that they could offer this to us. So.
Yes.
Treasurer report, we're just gonna, there's a whole bunch. We're just gonna start going through it because I'm not gonna waste time on the agenda. You're gonna hear it all. So, treasurer's report, Dan.
All right. So you see the numbers here in our checking account. We have $49,737.37, and in savings, $64,340.73. May income was $1,327. Expenses, that was mostly memberships, and then expenses were $1,376, which was mostly Lotteria. So, but we got compensated for Lotteria through a grant program. So, but more importantly, we're going to do a new budget for this new board. So we're going to refund the giving program. Haven't quite set the numbers, but we didn't use really much of it last year. So really encourage you guys to think about things that can benefit the whole community through, to support safety or kids programs, art, or just charitable giving in general. So more details about that on the website, but really encourage you guys to think of ideas and run with them, and we can help fund them. So if you want to request funds, treasurer@thecoronadoneighborhood.com.
Thanks, Dan.
Oh my gosh. Move it all.
Membership report.
Hi, I'm Clara. I'm the secretary. This is my first time presenting members. So for the membership report, for individual, we have 348. In the two-person bundles, we have 208. In the four-person existing bundles, we have 10, and then for businesses, we have 172. Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, kind of that I'm not out of order since I started doing that on the agenda, so we can pass this one. We have a new board, so again, we'll go to the next slide. A good chunk of us are here. I'm president, again, my name is Becca Santiago. Kirsten Keene is our vice president. Dan is our treasurer. Clara, who just did the wonderful job, is our secretary. Allie is in the back. She's a director. Marty is a director, and Gabrielle is a director. Brian and Chris are not here tonight, but some good new faces on the board this year that we're excited about. And yeah, all of our emails are available on our website if you need to email any of us. Dispatch, we are working on the next edition of the dispatch, which we hope to get out. We're shooting for the end of the month, so end of the month or early July, keep an eye out for that. Active members, you get it mailed directly to your house. Otherwise, it's available digitally on our website, or we print extra hard copies and we distribute those to Sunshine, the TMI, little free libraries around the neighborhood. So we always post on where those locations are when we do that. This is also, as I always say, our neighborhood's little magazine. So like everyone is welcome to contribute. If you have an idea, a story, it's about you, it's about your business, it's about the neighborhood, whatever it is. We always welcome articles and are happy to work with you if you have an idea, if you're not necessarily a strong writer, whatever it is, we're happy to work with you to elaborate on that idea and come up with something. So that is info@thecoronadoneighborhood.com. If you have an idea, email that account and we will contribute. Oh, I will say one other thing about the dispatch. It is funded through, or this past year, all of the print was funded through the City of Phoenix Block Watch grant. We have applied for that, and we're doing the final rounds of voting and approvals of that. So I haven't heard yet, other than we should know soon on how our application for what will be this year, because the budget ends for this at the end of June. So we have to spend our money by the end of this month, and then hopefully we'll know by the end of this month as well whether we get funding for
How much would
next
that
year.
be?
We put in an application, so historically it's been like $10,000, and it's actually the max is like $15,000. So I think how we budgeted things and when we looked at was just about at the max, so closer to $15,000 this next year if we get it.
And a high success rate, right?
High success rate, that'd be the word. This Saturday, Coronado pool party at Coronado Park. There is a covered fee, but we're going to cover it as a neighborhood association. There will also be free snacks, popsicles, things like that. There's going to be music, prizes, and swag. Laura Pastor's office, Brenda there in the back is a representative from their office. It's also being hosted by them and Phoenix Place. So it's going to be a good time. We haven't had a neighborhood pool party in a couple of years, at least 5 years since I've been on the board. We haven't had one, also COVID years obviously, but we're really excited about it. It's a great resource for our neighborhood, so we're excited to activate it and hope to see you all there.
That's during hours that the pool is usually open anyway, right?
Yeah, 12 to 4.
So it's kind of just open wide, it's like not a members only thing.
No, not members only. Open to anyone. The McDowell Road Revitalization Study, there was a meeting 2 weeks ago now at North High School. Their information, their project updates are on the website, and there's a survey open through June 9th, so it is currently June 6th. Everyone's got a couple more days to go in and fill that community survey. This is a screenshot, obviously, of the website. I am not going to do a full presentation on what was presented. All the slides and content from the full presentation is available on the website. I am quickly going to go through some of the concepts that were presented, and Ed is here from the Merchants Association. He has some thoughts to share. The Neighborhood Association right now is not taking an official stance on any preferred option. We are promoting and want people to go and voice their opinion. We also did send out a information about this, and then also our own survey, where if we find that the neighborhood has overwhelming support for any one option, you know, again, if the sample size is only 20 people end up voting, we're not going to take a stance on that, but we had really good participation in our safety survey, so again, if we have good participation in this, we might take a stance, but there has to be pretty clear consensus on which option the neighborhood prefers for us to do that. So, if you go to the next slide, Dan. So again, this is high level, and I apologize if it's a little difficult to see. I'm realizing maybe I should have done a darker background. But the first option, option A, essentially has the same configuration as is, with the 2 lanes and 3 lanes with a shared left turn lane. It adds a little bit of landscaping and streetscaping where possible, pretty much. So this is kind of a very minimal improvements to the existing conditions. Option B removes a lane of traffic and adds bike lanes. Again, also and any of these, they pretty much build off each other, so you're not really losing any elements. So you would also get the landscaping in option B. Option C is a protected bike lane and a median. So the protected bike lane requires that the shared left turn lanes go away, and so this would be a raised median. What we didn't see, and I don't know, Ed, if this is online, is how much of the corridor would be that raised median. But that limits, obviously, your ability to turn left if there's a curb in the roadway. So some different access, unless you have a big truck, which a lot of people in Arizona do. So that would restrict your some of the business access and how you get around on McDowell. If you go to the next one, I know I'm flying through these, but there's also some city folks here that I want to make sure we're going to have discussions with. So option D is, this is a raised, is this the raised one?
No, that's the next one.
Okay, that's the
one
rest.
minus
So,
degrees and stuff.
okay, good, thank you. Protected, so this one is not building off the other one. This one is protected, retains the shared left turn, you lose a lane of traffic, but you also would not get, while this would be a protected bike lane, there would not be enough space or much space for additional landscaping along the corridor. Maybe in some spots, but not as much as in some of the other configurations. Option E is a raised bike lane, so this essentially would be really wide sidewalk with a bike lane on the sidewalk situation. We don't really see as much landscaping on this. It seems like there should be, which is essentially what option PSP, which was developed by Phoenix spokespeople. They came up with this concept, which is a slight enhancement to this one in that it includes a landscaping buffer between the sidewalk and the roadway while still maintaining the shared left turn. So again, we are not taking as an association any stance right now, but I just wanted to quickly run through those options. There's a lot more detail in the full presentation available on the website, but I wanted to run through those because there's another option. This is what our survey is asking about these 6 options. This option is not on the City of Phoenix website. This is something that was, again, created by Phoenix spokespeople, and I will hand it over to Ed Drummond from the Merchants Association to share their thoughts and feelings about the project.
Thank you. Hey guys, I'm Ed Drummond. I'm a merchant on the mile, the president of the Merchants Association, and we are taking a stance on it as to which one we would like the most. The last time they did this study, it was amazing. The turnout was the greatest amount of surveys that had ever been recorded in a survey done by the City of Phoenix, right? And overwhelmingly, remember the third option was the one that we all chose. Now they've taken it to another level. All of these are iterations that haven't been backed up by any sort of data yet. There's the caveat, right? However, with Phoenix spokespeople and what they brought to the table, such a cool idea, because during the presentation, I think not only Councilwoman Pastor, but even Streets and Transportation said, hey, if we add this, we're not gonna be able to add the trees, right? But it was all kind of a theory to begin with. So if we ask them for all of these options like we could, from the Merchants Association, I presented this to just about, well, to every merchant that I've talked to, and they all support this overwhelmingly, because again, our struggle on the mile is that people drive so fast that they don't have time to look around and actually, give business to the people that are there. So we lose merchants, right? If you've noticed, there are a few merchants who've actually started slowing their hours down because they're not getting the traffic right now, and it's like, that's what we don't want. My goal is 100% for the merchants. So I am a business owner. I'm on the mile all the time. So if you ever have questions about what's happening on the mile, merchants that are coming in, merchants that are going out, merchants that are proposed, let us know, because we'd love to share that stuff with you guys as well. I know that overwhelmingly we hear it and you don't, but there's so much cool stuff that's happening that it's like, we want to make sure. I did bring something here where you can scan it. It basically shows option E, and then you can write in, add trees. So if you want to scan that, this is kind of the instructions. Thank you to Michael for helping putting this together. Looks amazing. Thanks you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
So that flyer is sort of saying this is what the merchants have thought is best.
Yes.
And if you want to get people behind that, you're spreading the word.
For sure.
When you take the survey, there's a comment field, right, is what you're saying?
Correct.
You can add we want the Phoenix folks to watch.
And these are all concepts that can be changed to however the community wants, but if we don't, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like last time, we've got to ask, and overwhelmingly people added comments the last time,
Yeah.
and that's why they had to take it to this level, because they felt we weren't really heard the first time.
And I was gonna say, to add bike lanes were never included in the original, design when they were we're gonna do 3 designs, because so many people said, get rid of a lane and add bicycle lanes. It happened. I was blown away. That was, yeah.
For sure. Question?
So, 2. I missed the meeting a couple weeks ago. So is this from the 51 to 7th Street, or is it further down? 7th Street.
Yeah, good question.
The 51?
Also,
Yeah.
it's still up in the air, right? Like what Phoenix spokespeople proposed was, they said, hey, if we're gonna ask, why don't we just ask to go all the way down to Central? I thought, why the heck not? Because, you know what I mean? It's like, let's do it all the way if we're gonna do it. And if they say no, then they say no. Yeah, so that's why with
Otherwise,
these.
what, the bike lane?
Yeah, totally. We're like, ooh,
Cool.
we could ask for that? Like, I didn't know that, So I think, yeah, that's where I think we just ask for as much as we can, and hey, that's cool, Cool. Question?
Yes, may come up later, but they kept saying at the meeting, the engineering hasn't been done on some of the options, and so certain things might turn out to be impossible or whatever. The engineers are the killers of dreams. And so we don't know what might happen to some of these pictures.
For sure. And I totally can appreciate that sentiment, because, yeah, we don't know what's gonna happen after that.
One more question. I've never seen a raised bike lane, I don't think. So are there areas in the city that
No.
currently have this?
This would be the first in Phoenix. Yeah.
There are other cities that have.
Yeah, Denver, Nashville, there's an actual page that we had passed around the merchants, and it's like this whole page that just talks about how cool these things are and pictures of them all. We can probably post it on our site on Facebook, so you guys can see that and what it would look like. But yeah, for this to be a historic designated area, and to have something special with that, and there's just so much that's happening on the mile right now that people just don't know about, because it's like you turn around, you're like, whoa, what happened? We hear about it all the time, because it's changing crazy fast right now. But this would just add to keeping it the way that it is. Cool. Thanks, guys.
One more, sorry, I'm so sorry. You said, this is our flyer, this is where you can go. You can choose E, but ask for the landscaping. Does that mean you guys are leaning also towards the Phoenix spokespeople?
Oh, yeah.
I'm confused.
So I'm on board with what they want, because all I want is for the merchants to get more business at the end of the day, and for Phoenix spokespeople, my thoughts are, hey, if the sidewalk is wider and it can bring more traffic and it slows traffic down, win.
Do it.
Yeah, totally. And it's like, trees, awesome. I just think, I think that's gonna help the merchants, because the merchants need businesses, they need people to slow, they need access. That's what's gonna keep businesses in business there.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Anybody else? Well, thanks for having me.
Awesome.
See you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
All right, so, right before Mother's Day-ish, early May, put out the safety survey. There's been growing number of incidences and growing, well, safety is perceived and real, so there is both real and perceived levels of safety issues growing in our community. We put out a survey in early May to kind of have a better understanding as an organization as what those look like, what people are experiencing, what their level of safety is in our neighborhood, and to start as that is our baseline to then, work towards coming up with solutions and ways to improve safety in our neighborhood. So, you can see here, so this is 1 unsafe and 10 being the safest. I apologize, it's probably not the best visualization, but this is 7, 8, and this was 9, and I forgot to include the other numbers, but this big chunk of the pie here are people who are 7 and above, which is, a strong number of people feeling very safe in the neighborhood, but a solid, 25%-ish that feel less than, a 6. So that's a good number of people. And if you go to the next slide, this is also, by the way, these are the results of, the highlights of the survey. I will be posting the full survey results on our website soon, and talking about our safety committee, but I just wanted to pull out the highlights just for the purposes of keeping it consolidated focus. So, top safety concerns. Here we see speeding, pedestrian, illicit activities at parks. This was behind alleys, etc. So, what we see here is pretty much the yellow bar across the top, second, and third concern is really up there, as is speeding cars is the second most top concern, second most concern, and then I apologize because I also forgot to put this on here, but this one jumps in a lot, and it's the third top concern, and pedestrian.
No, that's red. This is pink.
Yeah. I apologize, I forget what that one is. So, sorry, I can look that up and we'll post it on our website. Next one. This one is a question about how well do you feel City of Phoenix safety resources are shared with the community? So the city is doing a lot, and we actually have some folks here tonight to speak to some of this about addressing safe.
Sorry, the pink is encampments.
Thank you. Encampments.
Yeah.
Thank you for checking that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, there's not everything necessarily warrants a 911 call. What are the other resources in the community, or that are City of Phoenix resources that we can lean on to address issues? And so, about half feel neutral, fine, and then a good chunk are not well or not well at all. So there's clearly an educational component to this about making sure people are aware of all the resources. So that's definitely going to be a push. But just there is a lot, so we need to make sure we're sharing that, and that will be a focus of us, what we're doing moving forward. And I will say, we have a guest here from the City of Phoenix, and we do bring in City of Phoenix guests regularly. So that, as far as education, is like we have been doing this, and I think we have growing momentum with members coming to our meetings, but attending and making our neighbors aware that these meetings have City of Phoenix representatives at them, I think is a big part of communicating with your neighbors, because that's a direct communication and representation to raise concerns and have discussions with about how do we move forward and find solutions. What frequency do you experience or witness unsafe activity? Daily, weekly and monthly are here, and then so the daily at 19%, weekly at 35%. That I think, you know, these are high numbers for people. You know, when you think of this as daily and weekly being over 50% of the high, that's a lot. So we've got some work to do, and it's going to take not just, you know, I want to say our neighborhood association, we don't have any authorization to do any enforcement. We're not trained safety professionals, so there's things we can do and things we can't do, but we understand and we want to support the neighborhood in advancing discussions around this and promoting safety. So top that desired safety strategy. More police presence and patrolling was 40.7% of the votes. More lighting, about 25%, and more speed bumps, traffic controls, and then all that tiny little split up, closing off alleys, flashing stop signs, and more police presence. This is where people could write in, so that's why there's so many. The alleys are a problem, illuminated stop signs, but you can see those kind of tie back to some of those other recommendations that are in the top. Reduce encampments, removal of encampments, more lighting. So really just kind of feed back into some of these other ones as well. So we had a Coronado Safety Committee meeting. We met on Monday this past week, or earlier this week. And so I just want to say, you know, the neighborhood association recognizes that this is a passion and concern and a growing issue in the neighborhood. So we've surveyed neighbors, we've initiated the safety committee, we're meeting with city staff, and we're inviting city and continuing to invite city staff to come to these meetings, to meet with us and our safety committee or whoever else to foster positive relationships and bring positive change to the neighborhood. We want to, again, to collaborate, support one another. We all have shared goals of making this a place where we feel comfortable walking, taking our kids to the parks, walking at night, all of these things. And so it's going to take a lot of players, a lot of resources, and a lot of education, and a lot of connection with your neighbors. So I really encourage people to get involved. We're still developing the committee. Again, we've only had one meeting so far. And if you want to get involved, please reach out to me. I'll get you on our contact list. We're working on setting up our second meeting, or will be. But we got a lot of work to do, and we want to work together to do it. So, questions on that? I know I just went through a lot.
A community action officer?
We do. Officer Ben Harris. Yeah, still Officer Harris. And I'm hoping to, and again, one of those contacts that I would want to come meet with our safety committee. I'm just trying to make sure we kind of are organized as a committee before we start inviting city staff. Other questions about the committee or the survey results? All right, good here. Smooth transition to Victor Rojas from the city of Phoenix. I'll let you introduce yourself and.
I'll do it again. I'm Victor Rojas with the Office of Homeless Solutions. Our office was formed in response to the large encampment that had been surrounding the Human Service Campus. You guys probably saw it on the news quite often within the past couple of years. There are currently 8 liaisons that are assigned to different departments around the city. For instance, we have a crew that goes with streets department, another that goes with our alleys. We have a crew that goes with our parks and rec department, and even with our preserves that are located around the city. It's our job to go out to assess individuals that are deemed unsheltered, or if there's unattended camps, we go out there as well to assess what belongings can be found at each of these sites. As you can imagine, there's a lot of things that might be seen as regular folks as just trash, debris, but for the folks that we encounter, they might in fact deem it as a valuable item. We come across many people that they might be seen as hoarding, but again, it's a lot of items that they have collected because they've lost loved ones or have other experiences with mental health. They have a difficult time shedding those items away. We have within our ability to store items at several locations right now. Each time we come up onto an encampment, it's usually myself and a coworker, we come with bins just in case we do come across items that we want to store. And it's our primary hope that everyone we encounter will agree to receive services through a shelter, through our CBI outreach team that also works with us. We offer mental health, case management connectivity, and we've also even taken it upon ourselves to help people if they're finding it difficult just to get like to a medical appointment, or maybe even be reunified with a family member who might be a little on the outskirts of town. Anything that we reasonably think we can get done, we're willing to do so. Beginning June 17th, I'll be the official liaison assigned to Districts 6 and 4. So I'd like to just kind of go through a walkthrough, if I could, on your laptop with how you guys could report if you ever see camps. So I'm gonna Google on that? No? Yeah, just Google, yeah, I'll show you straight up. I know it'll be.
You have Google on your
Yeah, I was expecting slides, sorry, what am I Googling?
You'll go phoenix.gov/PHX-cares. There you go. And then if you scroll down a bit, I'll tell you where. Go up there. On my phone it looked a little different, so we'll go to.
Go further up,
Yeah, further up actually.
further up.
So report to Phoenix Cares. And you'll see within that you provide your name, your email address, and then you can identify about how many people are on the site, the property type.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it breaks it down to each of those because when we receive it on our end, that's when it's appropriated to the necessary department. And then you can highlight what you see, whether it's trash, debris, makeshift shelters, biohazards. And luckily we have 2 hazmat crews that go out with us if we come across bodily fluids or drug paraphernalia. That's right. So this is the way most of the cases are reported. Sometimes I even get calls directly or to my email. I'm currently getting new business cards, so I'd like to give out my phone number to everyone present. And just understand that it's our hope to address each of these cases as they come within 3 days. Many times it's a multifaceted issue, so maybe we have 5 to 10 camps, right? Maybe we haven't been able to touch base with the people on site. So we give them 48 hours actually to remove their items through a notice that we place on their camps. Sometimes they see it in the time that we hope for, right? Other times it might be kicked down the road a little bit, but then again, we've taken it upon ourselves to post multiple flyers if necessary. Yes, ma'am.
How will things change with the new camping ordinance that was approved?
For the parks, schools.
Yes,
the-
500
so-
feet.
500 feet, yeah. So September 1, that's when no one will be allowed within 500 feet of schools, parks, I'm forgetting one other one. Child care centers, correct. And that, I've been writing with park rangers lately, and I've been communicating with their leadership to kind of gear up for that. I don't, at the moment, have any solidified plan for it yet, but I'm sure I'm gonna have one within the next couple weeks. Yes, ma'am.
So the 500
Feet.
feet.
Yeah.
What about children are living in a house
Uh-huh.
and then there's becomes an encampment next to them?
So it will generally go through the same process, but again, that's why I'd like to offer my contact as well. I'm all about the preventative approach. If I can get to it before it even springs up to a full-fledged camp, that's what I'm hoping to do. I've been fortunate to get connections with, again, like I said, various departments, so if I am able to call someone up pretty quickly, hopefully it doesn't get to the point where they become concerned. Yes, ma'am.
I kind of wanted to answer my question.
Go for it.
People are already not allowed to camp on the street, on sidewalks, and in the alley. So if that were to happen, you would report it through the sport. And if something is happening, you know, whether if they have a weapon, call 911. It's an emergency.
It's an educational piece for sure. So, a couple parks already, La Pradera, University, there's been probably 15 to 20 individuals who frequent certain sides of the park. And we've been telling folks, as you said, you cannot obstruct sidewalks. We will help you discard items that you say is trash or debris. Do not set up camps, anything that could be perceived as any type of makeshift shelter.
This happens. We had one person and a parking lot, and the owners of the parking lot allowed them to be there. But now there's three cars. And, well, we don't know. And over in the corner of that parking lot is another person that's, there's species in the, in the alleyways and,
In those instances, we would work in conjunction with neighborhood services, because it's a private property. We would have our hazmat crew come along with us, post the flyers to have them, give them fair warning to move their stuff. Again, we would come in saying, hey, we have beds here or there. If you'd like to come, please ride with us. There's many folks who aren't quite ready because they're still struggling with mental health or substance abuse, and there's sometimes a mistrust of the system too, so it takes, could be several weeks, maybe even months for them to trust the services that are being offered. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we have a question from our YouTube live stream.
Yep.
Ivana asks, does Phoenix Cares help the homeless individuals who have drug dependencies but are not willing to work on recovery?
We have offerings, and that's where that rapport building is so key, because we try to pitch them how they could benefit so many different ways. We ask them, hey, have you ever thought about this way or that way, or reunifying with family even? What's been your biggest challenges while on the street? What has been your biggest reasons for being dissuaded from receiving services? So, yeah, I can't give an umbrella answer, but that's where the one-on-one human relationships come into play for sure. Yes, sir.
What kind of turnaround is there between submitting a report like this online and somebody actually going out and taking a look?
I'd have to look up the recent activity. My supervisor would have direct access to that.
I mean, a day, a week, 10 days, a month?
It varies, I'll say that, yeah.
The goal is 3 days.
3 days,
Yeah.
correct, yeah.
And how does that work with private property and like abandoned buildings?
Yeah.
Because we do have that on this by 16th. There's a abandoned, I think, cremation center that is all graffiti.
Right.
I've driven by. There's multiple people in the fence that probably.
I've had to work with neighborhood services to
Yeah.
see who the owner is,
Okay.
to kind of see what direction we can go with that.
So do we report that still directly to that, to
It'll
this
get-
portal, or
it'll
is it more efficient to work like contact our neighborhood services specialists? What?
I would say, start here,
Okay.
right? If it seems like it's being prolonged for whatever reason, if you have a direct contact already for NSD, then yes.
In the interim between when you're contacted and you can get out to the site,
Yeah.
what would you recommend to our neighbors to how to address these issues in that little interim?
First off, if it is definitely a cause for danger, threats, 911, absolutely. We have our own connections with officers, so if it's to that point, we would ride with them, again, make the offer for services to kind of assess what their challenges were, and then go from there.
But in the long term of their trajectory,
Yeah.
what would you say is something that you would recommend as far as, because you read all kinds of things. You
Yeah.
help them, you don't help them, you enable them, you
Yeah.
make them accountable. So
Yeah, I would
what
definitely.
would you recommend as just novices, because we're not in your position, that we would participate in your ultimate goal.
If you felt like the individual or individuals who were peaceful, willing to listen, I wouldn't stop you from engaging them. However, I do like to tell folks to lean on the professional services. I don't ever want people to get caught in a situation that becomes unmanageable, right? I do understand that sometimes folks on the streets take a particular liking because there's maybe trust built between a property owner and someone on the street. Always keep in your mind that it is a stranger that you're dealing with in the end. So keep healthy barriers open. If you felt like you were to acquire enough resources in your own mind to pitch, I wouldn't stop you. But always with a healthy level of caution.
Do you have any statistics on their mental health issues and also their addiction rates within the general unsheltered
Not off the top of my
population?
head. I can get back to you on that though, for sure. We had a
Is there
recent,
data on that? I'm
yeah.
just curious.
Every
Okay.
year we do a point in time count, early January, so those results should be available now actually, so we could actually pull that up. And it gives you a snapshot at that given time. We have seen a decline in folks on the streets because we've had several shelters open up in the past year. And our hope is to open up more in the future. My biggest goal is to prevent recidivism on the street. As long as we get the right case managers and people that are working with them while they're in shelters, that's where everything can change right there.
Awesome, thank you, Victor. I'm gonna leave you.
Maria.
Okay,
I thought you were gonna give us
last
your-
question.
Yeah, you were gonna give us your phone number.
Phone number. Give it
Phone
a
number.
Everybody ready, good guys?
Yeah.
All right,
Phone number.
602-694-3450. And be forewarned, I get pulled many different ways, so give me a little bit of time. Texting works as well too, right? And if anyone ever has any issues or concerns about how to enter a case correctly, I can definitely walk you through it again, okay?
Can you repeat it one more time?
Yeah, 602-694-3450. I'm generally out on the streets between 6:30 and whenever's necessary, actually. So, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, last presentation for the night. Justine. Was it? Justine. Justine, hi. Thank you.
Just click
Oh.
over.
That way you don't have to say click. Good evening, everyone. Hello, I'm Justine Cook. I'm with the City of Phoenix. I'm the Deputy Director over the collections team. So the folks that you guys see every week picking up your refuse and recycle, those are the guys and girls that do this work, and I'm very proud to be a part of that team. I have with me tonight Pat Tapia, our Assistant Director, and Lori Douglas Stolder. She is our deputy over the customer engagement team. And we have Lucas Mariacker. He is an operations manager for the collections, or the customer engagement team. David Westfall, he is your area specialist. So kind of like Victor, he is in this neighborhood frequently, so he'll be a good point of contact for you all. I think I got everybody from our team. All right. Thank you guys for having us out. We really enjoyed coming out to the community, getting some information out to you all regarding some of the new programs that we're going to be working on. So bulk trash is one that we have looked at over the last year, and we have some changes that we're making to it. So I want to give you an update on what those look like. How many of you have seen this bulk trash quarterly schedule? Right? Can you find yourself right in this now? I was gonna say, I think I'm somewhere in like this area over here, yeah. So it's been a challenge. It's 13 areas into 4 regions. So it's 52 different boxes that you have to find here to try and find where your house falls in and what week of collection you might be. If you go out of town that week, you might, that's the 1 week that I needed to put something out. So we're hoping that with our new appointment-based bulk trash, we can kind of answer some of those concerns that we've heard over the years. So to give you an overview of what we're looking at now, this map is more for our internal information, but I want to give you an idea of
the why behind it. So the colors that you see here each represent a day of collection. So it's a way for us to have zones and go into areas. So we're not going all over the city to pick up trash each and every day. We're gonna keep it to zones, but you guys don't even have to know that. The good part is knowing your address is gonna get you access to bulk trash services in the future. So some of the things that we've heard over the years, just from the feedback that we get through our customer services lines, things David might have heard while he's out in the field, things that have come up to myself are, the current program doesn't not allow necessarily for customer convenience in that appointment is set, or that date is set by the city a year in advance, right? It's October. How many of you, and maybe this neighborhood might not be impacted, but how many of you have had to set out bulk trash during holiday weeks? Anyone? Yeah. So that's one of the big concerns that we get, is that during holiday weeks, you can have trash out. It could be the week that you're having trash collected, or you could be having to place it out and next week is your collection date. But basically holidays are impacted by bulk trash. Right now, because we have a 52-week revolving calendar and there's 52 weeks in the year, somebody within the city and a bunch of somebodies get stuck with bulk trash being picked up on holidays. Another thing that we've heard is that they would like to reduce blight within their neighborhoods, right? So getting the material up and off the ground. If you look at our current schedule, you can have material up for 15 days out on the ground sometimes if we don't get to collect your area until about Friday. So if you have 9 days before collection week starts, plus I don't get to you till Friday, that's 2 full weeks of material that's just sitting out there asking for material to be piled on or to grow, or to, somebody just drop by and dump stuff on top of it. So what we're looking to do in the future is give appointment based where our customers are able to select the date that works the best for them. So right now you have 4 times a year that's scheduled at our kind of discretion on our calendar. In the future, with the appointment-based program, you're gonna have up to 4 times collection still, but it's on a date that works better for you. So for this particular area, you'll have a set date for collection, but you'll be able to select from those days. So you'll have, depending on the holidays, somewhere around the neighborhood of 50 to 46-ish weeks to select from that make the most sense for you, not those 4 weeks that we designated for you in the past. You can do the appointment scheduling by using MyPhoenix 311, or you can give us a call at the customer contact center up to 4 weeks in advance. And then we talked about placement dates prior, about how that kind of encourages piles to grow. That's again 15 days prior to collection, that material could have been out. With the new program, we're actually going to what our city code is, which is 7 days. So if you have, say, an unusual schedule, you don't have the same Saturday, Sunday kind of weekend off, you still have up to 7 days ahead. So if you have a Tuesday, Wednesday off, those would be considered your weekend. You can put out during those times. We're giving 7 days to make sure everyone has the opportunity to be able to put their material out. And then currently we collect during holiday weeks. In the future, we're gonna block out the weeks of the holiday and the days surrounding it. So the 7 days around those holidays, we'll make sure those are blocked. So you don't have to worry about where your friends and family are gonna park, whether the kids that are trick-or-treating are gonna have to climb over piles to get to your neighbor's house to say, trick-or-treat. So we'll get those knocked out. So as of right now, the ones that we've heard the most feedback on are New Year's, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Halloween. We're always looking to evaluate that, but those are the ones right now that we know mostly have the most friends and family over, the most kids out on the street. One change we are making is from the curbside and alley to curbside only. And the reason we're going this direction is really to ensure that we have anonymous piles that are out in the alleys, right? Right now, if you place out or somebody drives by and dumps something in your alley, that material has a tendency to grow. It has a tendency to be unclaimed, and it just kind of grows and accumulates more material. So having it at the front of the curb allows us to work with the homeowners themselves, make sure that one, they put the pile there, that they've scheduled a date for collection, and that there's nothing in there that shouldn't be in there. If there's anything in the alley, we're gonna assume that that is illegal dumping, and we'll work through our illegal dumping crews to get that taken care of. We are changing from 20 cubic yards to 10 cubic yards. To give you all an idea of what that looks like, that is a 4-foot by 4 foot by 17 foot long pile. 10 cubic yards is quite big. It still allows for a couple couches, boxes, everything. So when you think, oh no, that's going down, trust us, it's still enough for the average pile that we get. So that is the new size. We're looking to launch this and have the appointments available in August of 2024, so about August 30th is when it will go live, when you can start scheduling your appointments. And then the actual official date, this is the special one, is September 30th, 2024. So for those of you that have those confusing calendars on your fridge, after this next pickup that you get on the third quarter, please toss those away, because then you'll schedule your appointment for the fourth quarter of this year. So September 30th is when those can be collected. Just to give you a quick rundown of where you can get this information. So in our phoenix.gov/publicworks, there's information on some of the do's and don'ts of the piles, so that you have an idea of what can and can't go into bulk trash, what size it is, where the placement goes. You can schedule online, like I said before, at Phoenix My 311, My Phoenix 311, or by calling us at 602-262-6251. When you go in to schedule an appointment, and this is good for any of you that are homeowners or even maybe have renters or are renters yourselves, you don't have to worry about a PIN code. Okay, I don't know how many of you have tried to call the call center and you're like, what's your PIN code? I don't know my PIN code, honestly, but here you just have to put in your address. Okay, there's no crazy like give me your account number, tell me your name. It's what's your address and what day are you going to pick up. You'll get an email that confirms that you received your appointment and the date that your appointment is set for. And that's what it looks like. It'll give you the date, show it's bulk trash, $0. And then there's contact information should you need to change anything on your appointment or you want to call us to ask questions regarding your appointment. And then lastly, if you'll put out your bulk trash before 5:30 a.m. on your appointed collection date, just make sure it's there at the curb. And again, you can start setting that out 7 days prior to your confirmed scheduled appointment date. You just heard from Victor, but I want to stress this because we do know that this is something that comes up in communities quite often. And that's that homeless encampments, there are opportunities to call those in when you see them. You can call us at 602-262-6251. We also say if there's any suspicious activity, but not life-threatening, okay, this is just suspicious, you can call the police number, which is the non-emergency line, which is 602-262-6151. If it is an emergency, dial 911. And then lastly, illegal dumping. If you see anything that's in progress, we ask you to call Crime Stop to report it, which is the non-emergency line that I just gave you, which is 602-262-6151. Or if you come out and they're already dead gone, you can call us at our number, which is 602-262-6251. That comes directly to our group with Public Works. We do the illegal dumping. We have crews that are dedicated to coming through and cleaning up illegal dumping across the city. And we also have inspectors such as David who do inspections to see what's going on in communities, anything that might be illegal activity, where we can investigate and try and find who keeps dumping material. We do want to try and limit that from happening in the future, so if we can investigate and find out who they are, we will definitely go down that route as well. And I know I went through really fast, but I'm open to answer any questions you might have regarding our new program. Yes, sir?
About illegal dumping, since everything's going to be moved to the alley and away from the alley, in the alley when dumping happens, are we still going to get that notification? Oh, you've got to get rid of that trash.
The first thing that we're going to do is go back there and try to investigate to see if there's anything in there that says, hey, if you have, I'm going to be honest, if you have freshly shorn palm fronds, okay, and your trees are all nice and tidy, and you dump those in the bag, I might come ask you, okay? But if it's not that, if it's like clearly tires or something like that, where there's no name, there's no nothing, those are called into the illegal dumping crew. We'll get those taken care of. So I want to stress, like, we're not trying to hold homeowners responsible for illegal dumping that's in their neighborhoods. What we want to do is make sure that we're identifying illegal dumping and we're doing everything we can to try and stop it in the future. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, question for you as far as we were able in our neighborhood, in our block area, to get the trash moved to the front. We were working actually since it's one of the day we took over. And we were trying to abandon the alley looking at the signatures. No one participated on the other side because they're doing illegal dumping, they're doing some stuff that they're not supposed to do. So we were looking, right now, they are, the ones on the other street are dumping in the alley right currently, even though our trash is in the front. And we've been trying to report illegal dumping, we know who it is. And one property is even building into the encroachment into the alley. So, you know, we were just wondering, what do we do? You know, NST, I thought I called this public works, they said call NST. And I'm like, what about the graffiti and the illegal dumping? We have neighbors on our street. We just don't know what to do now.
First and foremost, for something like that, especially illegal dumping, so illegal dumping squarely falls within public works, right? So call our number, the number that I gave you, is 6251 at the end, and report that. One, the big thing for us is data. If you're calling it in, and to Victor's point, if you're putting a CARES case in, even if you're gonna call us on the other side, make sure the cases get into the system. And once that happens, data start getting numbers to move, right? I'd say I've been to this alley 5 times. I've been to this alley 10 times to address these same concerns. So one, keep calling it in. I know sometimes it's a pain or it's a hassle, but it really is about the squeaky wheel and getting that movement. So if it's illegal dumping, we can definitely address that and get it fixed. We want to know who are the neighbors on the other side of you. If it's maybe a complex or multifamily dwelling, is it commercial property? Those are things that we would want to go through and have that kind of further investigation to see if there's something we can do to stop it. As far as graffiti, there's graffiti busters. There's a couple different departments, but we can, one, kind of direct traffic on where that would go. Our group personally probably wouldn't handle graffiti, but we can get you in touch with graffiti busters. We can get you in touch with neighborhood services or with planning and zoning who may have something to do with the encroachment. So work through us and we can work with those other departments.
And another question, this real quick, I'm sorry. The neighbors in our area, like I'm the only one on the other side of 16th Street, that's basically here, and I have my I'm very happy, and everybody knows I'm one, because I've been trying. And the others are very concerned, but they're afraid that their names will get published, and they'll come after them, and things like that. So I'm trying to hear the number, just like you said. I can't be the only one calling.
Yeah.
And they're concerned about their information being shared with those on the other side, because they're homeless people.
Yeah, when we approach somebody to talk about what's going on in the alley, we should not be discussing who or where we got the information from, other than saying we have received a complaint regarding this issue. It's not about naming anybody else. I don't want you or your neighbor involved in any sort of back and forth. That's not for you to deal with. Please encourage them to call if they want to stay anonymous. It's completely fine. You know, I think if you could maybe give us your address before we leave here tonight, and we can put you in contact with some people and just take a look at your area.
Thank you.
If I schedule a pickup and I put it out and someone decides that my trash is their treasure,
Yeah.
how do do I lose that pickup, or how, like, you guys?
Just
track
call
on
us
it?
and say, hey, somebody grabbed it. So
Can I do it online?
I don't have that yet.
I don't.
That's like
yeah.
phase 3, okay? We'll get there. It's on the top of my list. So one thing that I'll say is, if you think in any way, shape, or form somebody might want something, like if you have an old dresser, we encourage you not to label it as bulk trash and call it in, right? Put it out to your curb, right? Free. Typically you'll leave before you know it, and you won't have to use one of your appointments. If you do put it in a pile though, and maybe they go through some of it, and you are like, hey, I can put the rest of this into the bin, just call us and we'll cancel it for you.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you go back to the slide again that had the number? Yeah, so Crime Stop was where you said if, for dumping in progress.
Yes.
I just want to highlight that.
Do you know dumping?
They inverse each other.
6151, 6251.
One number.
If you call us when it's in progress, we'll take your call. I just won't be able to send anybody out necessarily to try and stop it right away. But again, these are non-emergency lines, so I want to be very stress that our police department obviously has a lot to do. They're reporting to the 911 calls, so they'll take your case, they'll take the information. You can still call us directly if you have something in progress as well. We'll still take it as an illegal dumping. Like there's lots of yes.
Do signs attenuate dumping activity? Like a sign, no dumping, phone number, call, like.
What I'll say typically is what I see as far as signs, and this is my experience in the 10 years that I worked here for Public Works, is if you're calling and you're saying, hey, we're having this problem, and we're working with you, that's something we typically will put up and help with the community. Other departments also have signs as well. I think, Lucas, if you want to speak more about signs.
Yeah, we have illegal dumping stickers and signs, and then so we will actually install the signs. Usually we just ask for some evidence of, like, we have like stuff that's recorded in our system, and then we can do the signs, because signs are a little pricey, but we have those resources.
Do they work?
Do you think they work, Lucas?
Yes, I've heard from staff that they do work, so.
I'm gonna shoot, then I'll come up here.
Okay, so being newer to this neighborhood, what are the rules in Phoenix about landscape waste as well as construction waste? Because I have a community garbage can behind my property, and there's people dump stuff in there all the time. I don't think they should be. It's probably someone driving through, throwing their waste in there, and then the garbage can's overflowing with yard waste or construction waste or whatever.
So we're happy that they use the dumpster, right?
Yeah.
That's one.
But then it's overflowing
But then it's
behind my backyard.
overflowing, exactly. So when you think about construction debris from a bulk trash standpoint, I'll just stick with bulk trash first. We only allow up to 25 pounds of construction or CNA material for that. Construction and demolition, like what you pull out. So if you think about like kitchen cabinets, drywall, those kind of things, sometimes that gets lumped in there. If you are getting it into your bin and it's not your 2-3 people around you that are putting that material in there, that's still illegal dumping. Okay, now again, we're happy it went in the bin so we can collect it, but call that in. We can make a note of that it continues to happen in your bin and try and catch that as well.
Okay, and that would include like landscaping waste too, like grass clippings and.
None of that can go into the bin, so that's fine. But yes, just because it's not your material, it would help us if we understood where it came from.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
So if you make an appointment for Tuesday morning and your car is parked in front of your curb on Tuesday morning, they drive by and go, oops, can't do it?
So what I'll say is don't leave it out there multiple days in a row, but we'll definitely work around it. 85% of our city is actually curbside collection right now. So we're very familiar with how to work around cars with getting those piles. But I'd say if you know somebody's coming to pick up your pile and you can move it, that greatly helps us. But we also are very used to having to work around things. Yes, ma'am.
Like we regularly have cars parked in front of our house for the restaurant, and it's not our cars to move, so.
Do they start parking like early in the morning, or do you see it like towards later afternoon?
In the morning.
In the morning too? Okay. Is there any time during the day where you see like maybe less traffic on your street as far as parking?
Unless nothing's really going on. So if there is some special thing at the restaurant, then it's likely we'll have someone in front of us.
Yeah, you can put it out, just give us a call and let us know that you've got somebody that's not you blocking it, and we'll work, like I said, we work around it. It's things that happen. Obviously, if it's your car, please move your car, and it helps us. If it's not your car, we understand. Street parking does happen within the city. It's sometimes congested, so we understand, so we'll work around those things.
And then when this goes into effect, we'll move from alley to curb. And so what are the specifications, like, does it have to be on our property, or, just inside the street, or what?
So on your property is preferred, but sometimes maybe there's not the ability to do it. So we highly encourage, if you think you have any tricky kind of like, maybe I've got this landscaping up front, give us a call and just give us an idea. Google Map is great. It's an awesome tool for us to jump on and just kind of see what's going on in the surrounding area. Maybe we can help direct where the best place for placement would be.
So adding on to that question, thinking about like sidewalks and ADA access.
No to sidewalks.
No sidewalks.
No placement on sidewalks. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So if you place on sidewalks, we'll come and talk to you about that. We do want to make sure that we're not having anybody divert off the sidewalk to walk in the street. We'd rather have placement on the street than placement on the sidewalk.
Great, thank you.
So the space past, our yard, then the sidewalk, and then there's another area. Can it be in that area?
Is it your, do you maintain that part of that?
We do, but if the city's supposed to.
Is that like the
I won't talk
easement?
about any streets
Yeah.
things, okay. The answer is we can work with that, like, if you feel like that's the best spot for it, and we can take a look, like I said, for each property owner, if you feel good about us coming out, kind of helping walk you through the best placement, we're good with that. But I don't see a problem unless it said something about like, no something, like no material here or something, which I don't know of anything like that. Yes.
Okay, last question, because we'll be respectful of everyone's time. Let's hear it.
We live on a corner, so if, we're on Edgemere and Oak, if it's more convenient for us to put on Oak than Edgemere, where our address is, can we do that?
Absolutely. So there's a place for comments within your order when you're putting it in. So just write, hey, typically placed on Oak, north corner or whatever it is to your property.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I brought some signs in case anybody wants some signs on their way out.
Ooh.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, David.
Thank you to our City of Phoenix staff folks for coming out. I do want to acknowledge our host and introduce her really quick. So if you want to introduce yourself and say hello and tell us about this space really quick.
Okay, so my name is Petra Fimbras. This Frida's Garden is an art gallery event space that educates social determinants of health through art. We give a home to community organizations that don't have a home but add value to the community, along with artists. We have over 30 local artists in here. I welcome you all. It's not open every single day. It's only open when we host events. And so I do thank you all. I do have a house in the Coronado district. I did 15 years. My son lives there. And we've been open for 5 years. We opened right before the pandemic. So we're here. We have phenomenal partners and supporters. So again, Picasa su Casa, you guys ever need it, want to use it. We are BYOB for next time.
Okay.
All right.
Good to know.
And also, we are looking for like a bigger space.
Great. Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I want to be respectful to our host and everyone's time tonight. Thank you again, City of Phoenix staff, for being here. We really appreciate everyone, Victor, you as well, for sharing information and answering our questions. If anyone has any questions, maybe on the way out, ask them. But if otherwise, we are adjourned for the evening. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.